Hello, my name is Susan Ashley, and I actually wanted to talk to you today about one of my alien experiences. Now, I have had quite a number of them in my lifetime, and there's one in particular I wanted to talk to you about today. And I don't normally talk to people about these, and so it's a bit, so I'm struggling to actually put it out there, but I've been very afraid for many years to put it out there, so I didn't. And I feel the time is now to start actually talking about some of the experiences that I've had and what I've been told. I've been, if you like, hiding a lot. Now, it was about 25 years ago, 25, 26 years ago. Now, it's not to say that I haven't had experiences before or after this. The reason I actually did this particular thing is because I did have some very strong experiences beforehand, and I knew I was safe, so I participated in it. So it's not like it just happened to me and I decided to just go along with it. There was a number of different reasons why I went along with what I did. So I was actually, when I did tell a friend not long after this happened, and they told someone, and then I ended up by having someone from America actually interview me. And that made me even more scared, so I never spoke about it publicly. So I was taken into a cave. I was living in the Blue Mountains at the time in Wentworth Falls, and I was taken into a cave that was deep in the forest. And when we walked into the cave, actually some people came to get me. When we walked into the cave, it seemed like there was a back wall, but it wasn't a back wall. It was actually, it opened up. So there was an elevator there. So this person touched the wall and a doors opened, and we went into the elevator. And when we went into the elevator, I was given some breathing apparatus. So I could breathe, and I thought, oh, this is a bit odd. But anyway, we went deep, deep down into the earth. It was a long way down. And when the elevator doors opened up, it was a series of tunnels deep under the ground. No, there was no daylight or anything. It was just a series of tunnels. And they took me into one tunnel, and there was a man. He had red hair and a sort of like a slight beard. And he told me that he was working with the Australian Air Force, that he was a doctor, medical doctor, working with the Air Force. He told me his name, and he told me that I was safe and that everything was okay, and that they were working with alien beings, and one of them wanted to communicate with me and perform an operation on me. And I said, okay. Like I said, I'd had some experiences beforehand that led me to be brave enough to do this. So I trusted, and what I trusted in was myself and my own guides and what I knew to be true about my own life. So as soon as I said yes, it was as if everything in the room became awake, aware, like the chair, the table, the things on the table, the walls, the entrance door. Suddenly, it was like it became particles of light, and it started buzzing, and I started recognizing something. It was like everything became, everything revered what was about to come into the room, or who was about to come into the room. And then the next thing I knew, this little being came into the room, and he was not grey, he was sort of like a pale blue, and he did have big eyes, but he seemed very kind, and he telepathically communicated to me. Pretty much he communicated to everything in the room, I have to say. Everything kind of reacted to his energy system. It was like it all became awake. It was very unusual. And anyway, so he looked at me and he said in my mind, do you agree to this? And I said yes. And he said, okay, then I'm going to do this operation and I'm going to put some cold gel on you. He said, the only thing you'll feel is that there'll be no scar and everything's going to be fine. So he said, just hop up on this table. And I hadn't noticed the table behind me, which is like a table, not a massage table, but a operating theatre table. So I hopped up on the table and he pulled up my clothes and he put this gel on me and he said, now you won't feel anything, so don't be afraid. You might feel a little pull or something. It was just like psychic surgery, which I'd had also previously. So he started putting his hands inside my body and doing something with my organs. I wasn't really sure what he was doing. But anyway, while he was doing that, a screen came down in front of me. It was like a projector screen. And I was watching this scene of the planet in years to come. And what I could see was people choking because they couldn't breathe. Animals, people dying in the street from these chemicals, and that they couldn't breathe and they were all suffering and it was really horrible. And I was a bit in shock, and because it was as if I was physically witnessing people dying, and it wasn't like a movie. It was as if it was actually happening. That's how strong I felt it. So I said to the being, I said, you have to stop this. You have to stop this. And he just looked at me and said in my mind, well, no one's asked us. And then I grabbed the arm of the Australian doctor and I pleaded with him and I said, look, please, 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 please help the planet. And he said, I will do what I can, I promise you. And anyway, a few things transpired which have led me to understand what's coming and what's happening, and I've been witnessing it all unfold. And I won't go into that now. I'll do another video on that. But so what happened then was I left. But the interesting thing is when I left, I didn't need this mask anymore. I went out into the lift and I was taken back up. I could breathe normally. I went home and I slept for hours. So that is one of my experiences. Interestingly enough, before I married my husband, we walked the Camino, and we decided when we finished the Camino that we would get married. We figured that if we could get through that, we could get through anything. And sort of halfway through the Camino, I had been told that I was going to marry him, but I was resisting it and he was resisting it. We were both resisting it. And part of the reason that I was resisting it was because living with me is not easy. I have some very weird experiences happen to the average person. So it had been my experience that no man could actually cope with the ways of my life, let's say. And one night we were out we decided not to sleep in our Burgay because I was kind of over sleeping with 50 people in a room due to my sensitivities, and I'd been crying all day. And so we went into a field and we camped out the night. And that night, my husband witnessed an amazing show of UFOs and all this phenomena, and it made him a believer. And I would assume that for that reason, I was able to, because we witnessed it together, because they gifted that to us together, I was able to then relax and be with someone who could actually believe and share that part of my life. So that's one of my stories, and stay tuned because I'm going to be giving out even more stories, and I'd love to hear from you. Bye.